Hey everybody, Aaron Count with Sage Dynamics. In this week's questions answer video, we're going to talk about optic placement along the top rail. With magnified optics, you generally have an eye box, an eye relief, if you will. There's a certain distance in which the rear of the optic has to be to the cheek weld to the face. So your placement opportunities aren't nearly as great as what you'd get from an RDS. And with red dot sights, you see placements all the way back to all the way bridging or even going onto the free float rail itself based on user preference and maybe some experimentation due to lack of information or lack of good experience using the RDS. RDSs, within reason, have unlimited eye relief, so placement doesn't have to be all the way to the rear, doesn't have to be all the way to the front, doesn't have to be in the middle. The question specifically is, why do I run mine a little further forward than maybe you're used to seeing? The answer to that is actually pretty simple. Kind of a two-part thing. One of them has to do with night vision, and the other one has to do with peripheral vision. Especially dealing with Aimpoint products, because they have a slightly smaller objective window than you're going to get from, say, the Trijicon MRO. I'm going to move it a little further forward, first and foremost, to open up my peripheral vision when I'm on the gun. The optic just fills up pretty much my direct front, and I don't have to suck into the edges of the optic itself, and I'm still able to see off to the right and off to the left. Any place you put the optic on the top rail, as far as eye relief is concerned, it's going to obscure some of your vision. There's still a small amount of detail you're going to lose with what you're looking through the optic body itself. So anything that is just off of your objective window, being blocked by the battery compartment or housing or anything like that, you're still not going to be able to see. So the optic itself is going to provide a little bit of blockage at certain distances depending on how far you're aiming, how far you're looking. When it comes to close quarters, I want my extreme left and extreme right as open as possible, which is why I'm going to run my optic further forward. Even though rails have gotten much stronger, a lot of rails offer reinforced trunnions for the use of night vision devices, I'm still not willing to push it all the way out onto the rail. I may bridge depending on the gun and depending on the rail space I have. This is the Sage Edition PWS Mark 111 pistol. So I got an 11-inch gun. Not a lot of rail space to work with. Basically everything is primed and in its place. I've still got room to play with up here, but I'm going to keep my optic this far forward for the second reason, which is the use of night vision. So I'm utilizing night vision. Currently I'm running PVS 15s, which are a little shorter than some of the stuff I've used in the past, such as a PVS 14 on monocular or PVS 14 on a bridge, and my Vipers, which are shorter than PVS 14s, but not by much. The reason, the second reason the optic is that far forward is if I'm not going to use my IR laser for whatever reason. Maybe I'm worried about near peer identification, maybe I'm worried about a bad guy having night vision, although I don't really have to worry about that these days. Or I just want to co-witness for whatever reason. Maybe there's a lot of photonic barriers and I figure I'm going to go to my optic versus trying to use my IR laser. I can get my traditional cheek weld and still have well enough room to bring my head and my night vision in behind the optic body. Granted, I could move it even further back because we're talking cheek weld. My night vision's probably only going to come to right around in this area, just forward to the charging handle, depending on how aggressive I am on the gun. People who turtle up may go a little further forward, especially if you're, it's awkward to co-witness, to look through your day RDS using night vision regardless. Some optics lend themselves better to it than others, such as the MRO. The MRO is much easier to co-witness with, or to look through, if you will, than the Aimpoint, especially the new Comp M5. But fact remains, I want a little bit of breathing room, even though if the optic was half far as back, I probably wouldn't come in contact with it with my PVS 15s. Imagine, and this is probably the worst case scenario, you're co-witnessing, you're looking through your optic with your night vision, and you're moving, and you trip. Got a little bit of a breathing room, don't want to break my PVS 15s. Worst case scenario, I'd rather break the optic itself than I would break my night vision, because night vision, all things considered, is almost always going to be more expensive than your entire rifle. So those are the two reasons why I run my optic further forward than maybe you're used to seeing. Doesn't mean it's for you, but I think there's some value to it, especially if you take into account what the rifle's primary purpose for. Getting the rifle out to 50, 100 meters, my peripheral vision isn't as important, but talking about 5 meters and inside of 25 meters, 45 meters for a home defense gun or a patrol rifle, then maybe if I'm going to run an RDS, I want it a little further out to clear up that peripheral vision. Hope this answers the question. If you have any other questions about this topic or any otwer topic you'd like to see a questions answered video done on, drop it in the comment section below. I'm Aaron Count with Sage Dynamics. train accordingly.